on that day, my mother ended up in a car accident.
Oh, no.
So she's doing well. But as you could imagine, I needed to get to the hospital. So I apologize for that. With that being said, would you introduce, I see people in the room. Can we have them introduce themselves just so we know who's joining us? And welcome to all of you.
You want to repeat their names?
Would you like to start over?
You talk out and repeat their names so they
Okay, okay.
Sabrina Otis.
So we have Sabrina Otis in the room.
Shelley Williams, Metro Health.
Shelley Williams from Metro Health Hospital. Johnny. James. Elizabeth Mitchell. Mr. Greg Reeves. Greg Reeves from Towards Employment. Laquita Bells from Towards Employment. And Jaquil Crawford from Towards Employment. Towards Employment. And we have Dr. Luciana Gilmore from Forward. In attendance, Madam Chair.
All right, welcome to all of you from our commissioners in the room and those of us joining us virtually as well. We're very happy to have you and thank you for coming today. Madam Secretary, do we need to approve the minutes from the previous meeting?
So we don't have our minutes from the previous meeting because at our previous meeting, we did not have quorum. And what we ended up accomplishing in our prior meeting is that we shared information about our different subcommittees. And then we broke out in groups with the individuals that were present in the audience and just reviewed what our purpose was and what our intent was and what we would like to see happen in each one of the subcommittees. So we had individuals share the conversation about economic development, education, healthcare, and justice and civil rights. We did not talk about recruitment, public hearings, or research, I think. But we kind of just reviewed, just had a general conversation because we did not have quorum. We wanted to have some kind of productivity. And so we broke out in small groups and had a conversation. The notes were given to Ibukun, and we will compile those notes for your viewing as well as the other board members.
Did we have meetings that we should have approved at that previous meeting? I think you had sent us meeting. Okay, all right. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Okay. With that said, we can if we would, according to our agenda today, we wanted to have a follow-up on our subcommittee reports and get some information. And I know a few of the subcommittees acknowledged that they had presentations that they wanted to make tonight. With that said, we can go in order. Would economic development like to speak?
Madam Chair, I think our Vice Chair, Shamika Jones Taylor, I think that she was economic development, if I'm not sure.
She's education.
But she also talked about economic development, and she is not present today.
Then the next on the list is education.
Yeah. Okay.
I tagged you.
No.
Whatever you miss, I got you.
No, it's okay. Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening. So for our education committee, we most recently met with Chief Pryor Jones out of the Prevention Intervention Opportunity for Youth and Young Adults, and really discussed the opportunities to try to work to partner with one another. There were a couple of areas where the chief really wanted to see how we can work together. The work that they have been doing with young people throughout the city. Wanted to utilize that and make us know that that could be a source as we are continuously looking for some CMSD students to fill out the commission, that can actually be a source of potential applicants, or even working with them to get the word out to other young people. Inside of that, she wanted to make us aware, because of the work that the city of Cleveland has been doing through I would say 0 to 3, kind of like the prenatal strategy that the city of Cleveland has been working on. If there are some areas that are highlighted within early childhood education, to know that her office is willing and able to make those connections. From there, we had conversations of what we would like to see as far as any policy recommendations, because we know that our committee has to submit our policy recommendations for the mayor and Cleveland City Council next month at our next meeting, in advance for departments looking at their budgets. And so we were, just bouncing some ideas around of the things that we would like to see. I don't know if Cash, if you wanted to chime in just a little bit.
So we also met with the Chief of Education, Michelle Pomerantz, and we had a conversation with her as far as trying to develop some type of manual as far as what supportive services are here in the city of Cleveland for girls, for young ladies. And one of the things that she wanted to do was have a convening of different individuals who had like all girls schools or different all programs throughout the city, and have a conversation about resources. It appears that, we are rich on resources, but we're poor on coordination, and trying to see how we can coordinate and find out what the availability is as far as programs and services for young ladies. And one of the things that Chief Pomerantz talked about in contingent with the schools is trying to do that convening in the mayor's red room. I think she wanted to have it where he could actually stop it and engage with the conversation as well.
Oh, and then I forgot to add, so with the newly released, I'm getting it, I don't know if it's called the Youth Congress Mayor's Cabinet, and I should know the name of it, but really wanted to highlight one of the recommendations we would put on the table and probably will solidify is making sure that the city of Cleveland offers an annual report on the voice of Cleveland's children. We think it's really important, as many of us say we are talking to children, we don't have any focused documentation, so that people that are working, with young girls, young people in general, being able to know explicitly what that means, and having the city of Cleveland with all the various resources to be able to share, to share their perspective. And then we had some conversations of what it will look like and what it will mean from the perspective of our young girls with the pending school closures within the city of Cleveland. Really thinking about how we can have better coordination, specifically with our neighborhood resources and recreation centers, to see if there are ways to, again, partnering with both Parks and Recreation and the PIO team to really explore very intentionally the schools that will be closed, what the impacts will be. We heard from voices on the Cleveland City Council side of how a lot of young people are afraid to go to school, and how do we beef up our safe routes to school. This will be vitally important as we go through the transition period and year of having school closures and our young girls having to travel to different areas. And we think it would be vitally important for the city of Cleveland to make strategic investments to ensure those pathways are good for them going to and from schools, as well as expanding opportunities for our children to have opportunities before school and after school. And we think because the city of Cleveland has the neighborhood resource and recreation centers, it provides a unique opportunity for us to just ramp up on our programming.
Excellent. Any comments? The next subcommittee was healthcare.
Healthcare did not have an opportunity to meet, but we do have a meeting scheduled for August 4th.
Thank you. And just as a reminder, Commissioner, at some point, I know that your department is doing some amazing research and you had information that you had talked about sharing with us. So just kind of let us know when you want to get on the agenda for that as well.
Sure.
Justice and civil rights.
We also did not have an opportunity to meet.
Membership and recruitment. I know that our coach said.
Hi, everybody. So I have the update for the membership committee. I don't know if everyone got a chance to look at the OneNote that I shared. I kept it on our city emails just to keep it protected because I know we've had some issues. But we have our final recommendations for the open positions, not including the student positions. Again, putting the final vote and final interview of them based off of the rubric we had and ranking them. Recommendation for the higher education position. Her name is Ann Nelson. She, just a little background about her. She is a senior assistant dean of academic affairs at Monte College of Business at CSU. Very extensive leadership in higher education. She was on the governance committee, Center for Health Affairs, Ohio College Personnel Association, and many other things as you guys look through the spreadsheet we have. On a recommendation for the college representative. So I know we're coming at a situation where it's two positions, two slots for it. There's one opening. So we had 3 people apply all together. 2 recommendations as my term kind of spaces out. For the first empty one, her name is Sydney Evans. She is a case, and she is a case comprehension cancer center researcher, and she has a really extensive advocacy experience. She clearly demonstrated her understanding of what we do, our capacity, and her own original ideas around, policy advocacy, as well as ideas for partnerships with different nonprofits and organizations to promote our work. So she was definitely a standout. The second person to fill that college role as it becomes open is Dora Edwards. She is a student at the University of Akron, and she also works as a certified pharmacy technician. Again, very strong ideas and policy suggestions, and just overall good ideas around ways we can help Black women in the maternal health space and healthcare space and mental health. So she was a strong candidate for that. And for the labor position, our recommendation is Lauren Durham. Thinking that we were able to clarify that she is a member of a union, and at her job, she is an attorney at Squire Patton Boggs with advocacy experience, a very strong personal narrative around her own issues and just healthcare disparities and things of that nature. So overall, very strong for candidates, and I know in some of our prior meetings that we had in the community, I believe this was at Shiloh Baptist, members of the community, and just other areas of expansion of maybe spots that we didn't identify. So some of the applicants who identified could potentially fit in other roles just because they had a very impressive application. The first one is Delaney West. She, for maybe a Black woman in the arts, someone who works with the arts, she applied for labor, but again, she's a marketing director for the Graphic Artists Guild, and has some, experience in arts advocacy, so we thought that was pretty powerful. And then Imani Edwards, she's a public affairs director at Taft, which is a firm, and she has very extensive policy advocacy experience and community engagement experience. So if there was like a community engagement role, we just wanted to highlight, just wanted to elevate that as just potential things for the commission to consider. And just overall, just wanted to highlight every single candidate mentioned just a need for more mentorship. So as everyone has the chance to kind of look through all the applications, if we want to use this as like a launching pad to maybe create some sort of get off the ground, some sort of mentorship situation that won't necessarily take from our capacity, but they all mentioned that in one way or the other. And so, I'm sure as everyone has time to look over applications, we maybe can revisit that. But as of now, those are our final recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions or comments? So you.
I do, Madam Chair. I just wanted to reiterate if the recruitment and management team can remember to, if we can make sure we put our recommendations in writing of any policy changes. So that will require, as you went through this process and believe there may need to be some other, openings on the commission to be able to put that so we can talk about it next month. No problem. Thank you. And just sorry. If anyone doesn't have access to the document that I created, please let me know so I can fix that for you all.
And so moving forward, if you would, I think in your document, you highlighted those that your committee is recommending.
Yes.
And so we would prepare ourselves to make a vote on your recommendation at our next meeting.
Okay.
But in the interim, we will remind our fellow commissioners to review those applicants. And then perhaps we could consider, if they're not necessarily recommended for terms this particular cycle, to invite them as working committee members until we change the policy to add those positions that you think we need to be added.
Sounds good. Thank you.
And just to confirm, one of the things that you all have done is you actually interviewed all these individuals.
So we had LinkedIn using the rubric. We were going to do the final interviews in time for the final vote again. So we'll be doing the final round of interviews before our next session.
Because we want to be able to come prepared to vote on those recommended candidates.
Yeah, we after reviewing all of the applications, these are our final recommendations based off of the rubric that we provided. So these are the recommendations based off of the rubric. So as long as hopefully no one bombs their interview, these are again we are really confident on these recommendations.
Thank you all for your hard work. You've been working at this for quite some time. And we just appreciate your work as well as the work of the committee. So thank you very much. Any questions or other comments? So just as clarification as well, what we are also taking a look at is our existing board members and when their terms expire as well. So that we start to plan for those additions. Any comments?
So with that, someone should just elevate someone else. I can't remember which, I believe it's Commissioner Dr. Goods I think it's Commissioner Fair who's over social work, but there was a strong candidate. Her name was Chanel Harris to potentially be considered for that next rotation. I know that's like a few years out, but for her role, but I just wanted to add that since you made that comment. So thank you.
Because many of the commissioners recommended that we start to prepare moving forward, and how do we actually engage more women and girls in the actual working with kind of capacity. So thank you. So the The next one on the list is public hearings and listening sessions. We've not had a formal meeting, but I've had several calls on what we're trying to do is put together a list of those activities and events that are already happening for Black women and girls in the community. And so once that list is complete, I'll be bringing that list to the committee to review, where we might be able to partner on some of those things that are laser focused on some of the things that we're looking at. So I'll be sharing that list of activities moving forward for the rest of the year to the subcommittee, and then get their input on those things we want to recommend us attempting to get involved in as a partner from the commission with those things. And the thought was, if there's already things in place that are outreaching to the like communities that we're trying to reach, there's no need this year kind of to reinvent the wheel. The one thing that we had talked about in terms of an event was, at one point Metro Health was talking about doing their health fair. They've kind of put that on hold right now, but they are at the table willing to talk about the ways in which we can connect. So they're doing a little bit of a revamp on the things that they had on the table, but they've expressed an interest, a strong interest in partnering with us on the things that they bring forward for women and girls. And they're in the planning process for that. And as you know of things like, you guys are a really good wealth of information in terms of events. And so if you know things that are moving forward based on your expertise in the areas you are in, if you would share that with me, I'll place that on the list and also share that with our subcommittee. The other thing that I wanted to point out is that I've started with all of the funding cuts that are transpiring. I'm starting to make some contact with organizations that might be interested in funding some of our endeavors, albeit sponsorship for some of our events, or actual sponsorship or grants that might be available to us. I see a hand raised.
That is me. One of the thoughts was that I had was for us to be present in some of the neighborhood community festivals. And so it does not need to be perhaps the entire team of commissioners, but for instance, the Ward 5 Festival is coming up. I think it is the second week of August. I can get you the exact date.
Okay.
And I'm sure our council women know of when there might be similar opportunities in the other neighborhoods, so that would give us another opportunity to be present, to hear the voices, to address any concerns, and to make ourselves known in the community.
That makes sense. Councilwoman, is there a master list of the community festivals that you could share with us, or Eva Kuhn?
There's a list on the Cleveland City Council's events page.
Okay.
They do have a listing of various community events in that regard. And I would say on the lines of what Dr. Goods has stated, there may be an opportunity with the other upcoming back to school festival, if a couple of our commission members and maybe the recruitment team might be a good opportunity to touch with a wide net of CMSD students at the back to school fair, at least for a couple of hours. So we may want to just coordinate schedules to see availability.
We'll pull that off.
What would our table look like? What exactly, to operationalize this? What would we really do? I know people will show up and volunteer, but are there things that we would carry forth to each event that, the who, what, when, where, why we are? I'm not sure. I know showing up, but I'm not sure what we were going to actually do. These are, big, busy places. Are we having flyers or I'm not sure what we would do just showing up. So if someone can be more descriptive of what the day hours would look like and what kind of metrics are we looking for?
Well, I think as far as the hours, that would be dependent on the particular festival because they all, of course, have different times and hours. But to your question, as far as the particulars of what would be on the table, that to me that is a very good, valid question. We have talked about a brochure that highlights who we are and what our mission is and our various committees. I'm not sure where the production of that document is, as far as what the status of that is. But that would be a necessary item, I would think. And anything else that others might think of.
I would agree with you, Dr. Good. So I just made a note to follow up on the brochure. I put our mission, our work, our various sub and how they can access information about us. So that would be our website. And then perhaps we could survey them around what are issues for them. Because that's what we've kind of done in our previous engagements.
Yeah.
And so one of the things is to get our here are some basic ways you can engage with us. Here's what we're working on and what areas are you interested in. Anybody else have anything else to add?
And certainly if we are able to get city paraphernalia giveaways that we have, that would be help. That would always be a plus.
And
but I think it is more the opportunity to be in community, to let people know who we are, why we exist, to make people comfortable coming to us with their concerns or with their ideas.
And I would imagine that at these festivals, there's already 1 or 2 City of Cleveland tables. And so rather than kind of reinvent the wheel, we can maybe determine which of those areas we would partner with. So sitting at their table versus having a table of our own, where we could create our own signage, have our own handouts, but then that will allow us to pick the hours that we would want to be there versus being an empty table for some of the hours. So I don't see us necessarily reinventing the wheel because these are, they usually have more than 1 city table. But I'll get further information. I can work with Eva Kuhn and I'll look at the list and share that with you guys too.
So, Madam Chair, in reference to collaborating with an entity that already exists, the social support specialists who work in the neighborhood recreation centers, we try to be present at all community events, and we do have a table. And I think having a conversation with you and Dr. Good and with Ibu Kuhn and coming up with what we would like to have on a brochure, and then working with our comms department here. We do have a small budget, the Commission of Black Women and Girls, where we can ensure that we have some materials and maybe order some things to highlight who we are and what we are, and to have it at those events. So I will follow up with you, with Ibu Kuhn and Dr. Good, and see what we can come up with, and maybe create some templates for approval, and then we can move forward.
Sounds good. Anything else that we're missing, ladies, that you want to add? Okay. All right, thank you. And last but certainly not least, research.
Yes, I do have
Just to follow up, I know we didn't have a forum last time, so we didn't really talk about it much. But yes, my mic is on.
Can you hear me online? Okay, great. So we had a brief discussion, didn't really get to get into it, but the research committee we would like to do more research and develop policy around the workforce and the workplace, just in light of very recent statistics and data that have come about as of this year in light of this new administration. So I just want to highlight some of those things before I go into kind of what we are proposing. So in the last 3 months, there has been 300,000 Black women who have left the workforce. So just in the last 3 months, so from April to June, and there hasn't been a big of a decline as that since the pandemic. And since the pandemic, from those Black women who have left the workforce, about 518,000 have not really returned. So our true unemployment rate for Black women alone is around 10%. And obviously that is increasing more with the not being in place federally. And so some more data has tried to analyze what does that trickle down effect look like. The federal administration has intentionally targeted, obviously, the Department of Education, Department of Health, and other the Department of Education, Department of Health, and one of the department I'm losing, but I can't remember off the top of my head, but these departments had the highest concentration of Black women in those departments. And so looking at that data and cross-referencing what we know Project New War has done, we just wanted to form a partnership with Project New War to develop policy around workforce equity in the workplace. One of their call to actions was to create an equity certificate program offering, financial benefits or equitable practices to workplaces, I guess, that have the certification. So my idea, or an idea that our committees had, is to kind of just see how those federal trends will have trickled down locally, and certain industries that are highly concentrated with Black women. So that would look like childcare workers, social workers, housekeeping, home health aides, food service workers, things of that nature. And so the idea is to they have expressed that they have the capacity to raise money and through funding and things like that. And they were interested in like more of a formal MOU situation. So I initially reached out to the chair just because I wasn't sure what that would mean. And so now just reaching out to the group to talk about what could a potential partnership look like within gathering data or using the data they have and sharpening their data sets to make sure they are strictly looking at respondents who live in the Cleveland city limits to see, what that data looks like in reference to other national studies that have come out since Trump's administration to figure out what could a workplace equity certificate look like in workplaces in our city that have the highest concentration of Black women in that field, because the data has suggested that obviously we are the highest impacted. The unemployment rate for women specifically this month was like for June was 5.8%. It went up to 6.1%, which is the highest of all women. And Black women we are the highest the highest demographic of women to be employed. So it just, inherently disproportionately impacts us. So sorry that was long-winded, but that is what I wanted to present to the group from the research committee, open to feedback and things of that nature.
And also, Madam Chair, at our last meeting, one of the things that was brought up, feedback on that, was equity in pay, whereas people will have the same title and the same category, and there would be a huge disparity in what they're paid. And I know that House Jones had been talking to us about equity program here, and that was actually brought up too at the last meeting. But she was excused, and so we couldn't bombard her at that time. So I didn't know if she wanted to highlight anything in reference to that because it was brought up numerous times at our last meeting. Sorry, Councilwoman.
No, I mean, it's not, I mean, as this point, for people that are not, aware, the city of Cleveland, earlier this year passed, kind of pay equity and transparency legislation, specifically looking at, for companies that have 15 or more employees, you have to, you are prohibited from asking applicants their previous salary histories, which is a lot of times when you are underpaid. And if you tell your salary history, you will continue on that trajectory. Employers are required to outline how much salary, what is the salary from the onset, so that people will know. And when there are opportunities or instances where individuals find that there is discrepancy in the pay, as Commissioner Cash highlighted, Clevelanders now have an opportunity to file like formal complaints that actually will be heard by our Fair Employment Wage Board here in the city of Cleveland. The board has been organizing so that they can begin to start accepting complaints, being able to research the validity of those complaints. And if individuals, the first thing is always to seek to come to, I would say, a solution to what is being put out there, right, with the employer. But if there are some things that are found that are not rectified, then there is an avenue and ability to levy civil fines to employers who find themselves in that category and are unwilling to rectify the issue that may be substantiated by the board. So for people who don't know, this has recently happened in the city of Cleveland. It is now up and running, and I would really encourage people, if you are finding yourself in that position, to reach out to our Fair Wage Employment Board.
I just wanted you to repeat the name again. Fair Wage.
The Fair Wage Employment Board. And make sure I'm telling y'all the right stuff.
Fair Wage Employment Board.
Mm-hmm.
Are they housed in the city hall or where are they?
Yes, technically, yeah. And I should have got to a board meeting, but I didn't. But yes, you know what? This is what we'll do. I will commit to this. I will by Friday. By Friday, I will share the information because I'm looking. Their schedule should be up on the city of Cleveland's website, but I'm doing this in real time. Wage meetings. Because here it is. Okay. Oh, yeah, they actually have one coming up. So, yes. And actually, it is not here in City Hall. It actually is over at the new Greater Cleveland Works. So that's our new job board. So they will actually be meeting this upcoming Friday, July 25th at 9 a.m. And Greater Cleveland Works is located at 1910 Carnegie Avenue, on the third floor conference room.
What time?
At 9 a.m. Yep. So, and then I will, again, since we have asked that question, because this is a resource that may be of a particular interest to, Black women and girls in the city of Cleveland, I will again, by Friday, make a touch points to find out the actual context and how we can, make it more seamless in this random post that I just see that's posted on our website.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any additional comments or questions? Thank you, ladies. I wanted to be mindful of the individuals that we have in the room. If they had remarks or comments that they wanted to make, or we want to make sure to engage them as well. Madam Secretary, if anyone in the room had indicated a willingness or desire to give some remarks tonight.
So, Madam Chair, I'm not sure if any of our guests would like to have a remark, but Dr. Luciana Gilmore had made a request to come in and speak to the board to share some information about her All Girls Leadership Academy. And so we extended an invitation for her to come, and she is on the agenda to speak, as well as hopefully open to if anyone else want to make some comments.
Madam Chair,
And I
before
think
we go to,
I was going to say I saw a hand.
yeah, before we go to our guests, just to add to what our research committee has presented, I did have a conversation at another event with, and I'm going to call her informally Chi Chi, from Project Noir, just because I cannot pronounce her name. I apologize. And because one of the questions we had gotten in the past was, were they able to narrow down their data to just the city of Cleveland? And she did say that they could do that for us. And so, Commissioner Anastasia, if you all, we can have a conversation, since that is not my committee, but I did want to make sure that I brought that to the commission.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry if that wasn't clear because I said a lot, but yeah, she did communicate. That was communicated to me from her as well. So yeah, I guess next steps is just kind of just figuring out what that collaboration looks like as we decide as a commission, like how we want to narrow research around policy recommendations around promoting eliminating workplace discrimination for Black women. So I guess that's what in my mind next steps are for new business next meeting.
Well, I think first step would be to, if they are able, since they are saying they're able to provide that, would be to get that, and then that would give us more focus into the areas that are specific to women in the city of Cleveland.
Yeah, but they would like a formal MOU engaging further, so that's what we'll have to.
I'm sorry, you were muffled, so I could not hear what you said.
I said they would like a formal MOU, just like a understanding and understanding before engaging further. So that was just kind of where we were, and that's what I was presenting today, and had run by the chair and vice chair. I didn't know what next steps were beyond that.
We can reach out. We will reach out to your point.
Let me add a point. So a lot of times, yeah, I would just probably add it would probably be an opportunity if we wanted to put out a request for proposal or something like that in short order to say exactly what we want, and then have people apply to that, understanding how much we are willing to invest, in this actual research. So then that way people who are interested, have a skill set, can then apply for it, and then we can make a selection based on who is out there. A lot of times that is what is done in a public forum. And I would say the commissioner probably knows more than me how that goes, but formally, that's usually my limited 3.5 experiences. That's usually how those things go.
My understanding and that conversation was in regard to the research that they already have. And so being able to filter that research that they already have, not a full-blown request to recreate the wheel, but to take the data that they already have and show us what that data looks like for the city versus the entire county and some even outside of the county, I think, that were in their particular study. And so that was the question that was presented to us when they came and we had the public meeting. Well, not public meeting, but yeah, it was a public meeting. Excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the understanding of the basis of my conversation with them as well, is, you know, down the data that they already had. And that was kind of where, you know, since they had expressed their capacity to, you know, raise money and to, you know, support more efforts around flushing out, you know, workplace policy around workplace discrimination. That was what was told to me, is like, you know, engaging further. They were like a memorandum of understanding, including that being, you know, data to Cleveland specific respondents. And I think that's how I worded it the first time. So I'm sorry if that wasn't as clear. So that was the understanding I had anyway. It wasn't about like, we didn't go further into talking about what new data looked like or anything like that. That was just kind of where the conversation ended. So yeah.
Sounds like we'll follow up and see what next steps that would require. And then we can report out at the next meeting. And if they already have done that, maybe we can have them report on what that looks like.
Okay, thank you. That's all for the report that I had.
Thank you. Great work. So new business, community updates. Madam Secretary, would you like to introduce the presenter for Forward Girls Leadership Academy?
Madam Chair, we have Dr. Luciana Gilmore. Board Leadership Academy. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the extension of the invite. I'm happy to share, and I do have some items. Yes, thank you. Some more. So just a little bit of background on myself. I am a Cleveland graduate. I am also a former Cleveland teacher, a former Cleveland principal, and I have been out of formal education for about 8 years now. Forward Girls Leadership Academy started way before I left CMSD. It has been a dream of mine to open up a school, in particular for Black and Brown girls. When I left CMSD, my work then turned into my dissertation and research, which my whole dissertation was wrote on building this school. So I had a model dissertation model where I was able to present an idea, research why the idea would be good, and then defend it. And so Forward was wrote all throughout my dissertation, and now fast forward, we are here. And so Forward is going through the authorization process right now. We are the only independent all-girl public high school that will exist in Cleveland, free tuition. We are not going up under any of the chartering authorities in Cleveland, like Excel or Breakthrough or any of those. We are going to be independent. I am just wrapping up a fellowship with an organization called BES. I am the first fellow that has been chosen in the state of Ohio under their guidance to open up a school in Ohio. And I have a local funder here called Reinvent Ed. And so between the both of them, I have done a year-long fellowship. I've visited 6 schools throughout the country. I've done 3 residencies. I've visited Laurel School here, Hathaway Brown, Beaumont. And my idea and the premise behind Forward is that there is not an equitable
solution for girls in education here unless you have the financial means to be placed into those spaces. Because of that, of course, it's unequitable for our girls. Yes, there are amazing schools that we do have to offer, but if you're looking for that particular environment, without the financial resources, there are none. So Ford will start as a high school. Particularly, I started as a high school because we do have 2 K-8 models. And once K-8 models, once they leave in CMSD from the K-8 models, there is not a school for them to go to. So if parents are interested in keeping that same single gender, they don't have that opportunity if they don't have the means to provide financially to send them to the private schools. The other opportunity in this school is that it is a leadership academy. And so I think about my own experiences before leadership and even when I got into leadership of having to learn while on the job. And so like having to gain those skills while I'm working the job. And this high school is going to put those skills in the high school while they are there. So when our girls do graduate, they have some of those core leadership skills in addition to communication, in addition to the soft skills that we oftentimes don't have a lot of time to wrestle with in a traditional school because we're wrestling with so many things. And this is from experience, just going home feeling defeated because there's so many other things that I had to do besides the things that I wanted to do. Ford provides an opportunity for Black and brown girls to really show up. When I have visited private schools across the country, it saddens me because you can't compete where you don't compare. And we aren't comparing right now. I know it from the inside and I know it from the outside. And Ford is set up to do just that. And so the contention behind Ford is really just to set up a model that is comparable to private schools for Black and brown girls that is tuition free. We do have 2 pathways at Ford, which is leadership in STEM and leadership in global humanities. To give our girls, of course, we know that our girls are underrepresented in STEM. And then to understand not just themselves, but how they place themselves in the world as a whole. We will open up next fall. We are intentionally looking in Ward 1. Real estate is very scarce. And so we're trying to find a location. We probably will have to spread a little bit wider just because we aren't finding enough facilities. I have some non-negotiables about the school. And so I can't say that I'm going to compete if we don't look like a school. And so aesthetics is important to me. And that's it. That's the basics. But I would love to continue this conversation, answer any questions that I could right now, just some wonderings that you guys might have on the table about the school. Yeah.
So my question is, so this is like a really amazing program that school that you're studying. How are you all funded to provide free tuition or for it to be free?
So it's gonna be it'll be a public charter school.
Okay,
so we'll be funded through the state just like any other school. The exception is that it will be public and independent as opposed to public and under the guidance of like an authority school. So Ford will stand alone. While we are opening up in high school, it is our goal to have a comprehensive K-12 campus because the research shows when single gender schools start from K-12, students, they excel. And so that is the goal, but I wanted to open up with the immediate need that I know is present right now.
How many students in the beginning do you think you'll be able to accommodate?
And so my target goal to open next year is 75. And so I had a bigger number. And the 2 funding organizations like, okay, come down a little bit. And what I have seen in the private sectors in surrounding areas in Cleveland, their classes are about 70 to 80, some reaching 90. My goal, and from my lens, that's because a lot of people can't attain a $40,000 tuition in 9th grade, right? And so I'm thinking being able to offer this school in the city of Cleveland where tuition is not a barrier anymore, but we are really intentional about the education that girls see and hear and get and be able to leave with will look quite different than the other schools that have 75. I hope that we are able to surpass those numbers.
Are you will the school just start from like 9th grade and go from there? Okay, and now okay, yeah, cool.
Every year we'll add a grade. Once we get to 12th grade, we'll start going backwards and adding. It is the goal to be able to temporarily, we may have to move into a location with the goal that if it is a temporary space that we'll be able to build. Our projections for financial will allow us to be able to build in 5 years if we keep student enrollment on target.
Good evening, Dr. Gilman. So,
Yo, Michael.
okay. Good evening. Thank you for having us. Thank you for being able to share the vision of this new endeavor of middle school in the city of Cleveland. So I am very familiar with VES, and I know that the work that they do to transform communities, build leaders. So it's always exciting when people talk about the endeavor and some of the things they do, but to know that they actually are putting in the work to actually know the intricacies in that field. I think it speaks a lot to what you are working to accomplish. You know, I would be remiss if I didn't say, I know you're starting in Ward 1 and seeing you're in Ward 1. But I think whatever as you are looking for, you know, other areas, because we know real estate is a challenge, to being open to communities. I'm going to shout out my community, St. Clair Superior. Crazy town. We might have a couple of schools there, but again, just to know the specific, kind of specific real estate needs, you know, square footage, you know, non-negotiable type things. So if there are some communities who would be excited to be a partner with you, and depending on how, like I said, some of the school closures that will happen with CMSD, there may be some communities that would like to potentially put their bid in to have what we know is a missing link in the community. And like I said, I'm unapologetically going to say Ward 7 would welcome to have it. We think I know we have the amenities. We can think very creatively, you know, as we thinking of before care, after care, you know, just programming and things of that nature. So
I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I will piggyback on that. Although I'm starting in Ward 1, that's the ward that I grew up in.
Mhm.
I know the community well. I am open, and so in full transparency, the reason why I did not tip to the other side is because there is a girls' school over there that is middle school, and I think they're starting high school, a very different feel and look than our Girls Leadership Academy. I don't want to go in and be in competition off the bat.
Okay.
And so I want to give them time and space to see if they will be successful. I know Ford will be successful, and so I want to do it in a way that if we expand, I'm coming. But I've also thought about being downtown. I went to the Cleveland School of Science when it was downtown, and we were able to get people from, you know, students from both sides of town. So I am open to that as well. Okay.
Well, I'm happy to represent downtown too. So come on.
So I'm open to that because I'm sorry.
No, go ahead and finish your statement.
Yeah, I'm open to that because then it opens up my pool of students, right? I know what we have built on paper. I have a board of 7 that are from very different walks of life that's supporting this effort. BES as a national push has been huge. And just getting the word out, really wanting the school to excel. And then Reinvent Ed that's here has been huge in the space of just financial support.
And so I just want to, commend you. I'm so very impressed by what you have presented. And again, you just following your goal. I am in the final stages of a dissertation in a different discipline, but know what it's like to follow through on that. So I commend you. Also,
Thank
like Councilwoman House Jones, I put a shout out for Ward 5. Where we love to have a school like yours. I am not as astute or as, of course, as you are on the educational landscape. Now, you mentioned being the only school for girls, but are you familiar with the Gina Thompson School for Girls and what might be the differences? Because you said there was no other school. And so I'm just trying to understand the differences.
Yeah, so that was a school I was just mentioning to Councilman Stephanie. I'm sorry, House Jones. I'm sorry. And so yes, I am aware of that. The difference is that the Ginn Thompson School is under a network, so they're under the Excel umbrella. I am a standalone by myself school building out in capacity from the school alone. So I don't have a network that I report to. It is truly from the bottom up. But it's been 10 years of being in the building. So it has been a process of even getting to this point to be ready to open in a year.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's helpful to understand.
Thank you. Well, I will close out just my comments to say thank you so much for just hearing what is getting ready to happen for our Black and brown girls. I am truly excited. The other side of it is that I would love to have you guys support what this commission stands for is directly aligned to the school. And I don't know what support looks like because I haven't built this part of the machine out, but whatever conversations we can have that extend beyond this meeting in ways that we can engage with one another, I would greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. If there maybe are some people here that might be interested. So I'm not sure at the moment where our chair is, but can I see the agenda? I know it's up here. I know it's on my computer screen. Yeah, on my computer screen. Thank you so much. So prepare for more mayor and council. Yes. So as we are looking on our agenda, so I will say, Dr. Gilmore, as you are getting ready to transition and leave, the education committee will absolutely follow up with you. And it highlights how we probably need to have some conversations with our two CMSD girls academies, and really try to build out, from that place. So we will be in touch. All right. Thank you. The next part was to have a conversation. Dr. Goods, did you have your hands up or did I miss it? No, you good? You good? Okay. So the other thing is, as we part of our new business, is a report for mayor and council. And so just really briefly, yes, really briefly try to get people's thoughts because again, next month is when we are supposed to submit the each committee's recommendations and ideas, and then we'll have to put it together to then officially get it submitted. So if there are any ideas, questions, thoughts, support that people need over the next month to be able, to have a good cohesive report, now's the time to put your request forward. Will this meeting, will the report go out next month before our next meeting? Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, next month.
Next month is supposed to be, that was a timeline we made at the beginning for people to submit it as a committee and to be able to talk through it and say, yay, and then, as a committee to be able to say, yay, this is what we included, nay, we want to make some alterations, things of that nature. But we really just need to have the solidified ideas so that we can formally put that in front of the mayor and Cleveland City Council.
Also, Councilwoman House Jones, I didn't know if there were any other comments that wanted to be made from anyone in our audience today. I didn't want to overlook anyone. I appreciate you being here, and you were here last month with us to support us and give some ideas, and we did document those, and we do have those to share with our chair and with our commission. So I'll start to my left. This young lady right here. Oh, just come to her. Yeah, come to, yeah, just be right here in the middle.
Go to the microphone.
And the reason why we ask, because you know we are streaming and it's recorded and we need to be able to capture the voices. So if you just please again introduce yourself and give your commentary.
I'm Sabrina Otis. I briefly was speaking about healthcare disparities for Black women and Black girls here in Greater Cleveland. We don't have enough pediatric minority doctors to work with our Black children, especially our Black girls. There's an uptick in epilepsy with Black children, especially Black girls. We do not have neurologists to work with them. In Greater Cleveland, between the 3 hospitals, we have 6 neurologists for pediatrics. That's a problem. And our children are less likely to get medication. So with epilepsy, when a child starts really young, between the ages of 4 and 7, if they're medicated by 9, it's controlled and they could possibly grow out of it or not have it. Our doctors here in Greater Cleveland are not treating our minority youth in that time frame. They're waiting till they're 9 or 10. My daughter is currently 15. She's having seizures weekly. The medications they want to put on her are psychedelics. Clonazepam and clonazepam, if you get on those, you can never get off. And they're also, those are treated for patients with schizophrenia. But now you're giving it to a child with epilepsy. So now you're creating a bigger health disparity for that child. That's lifelong and it's destroying. My hope with this commission is that you guys do look into hospitals here in Greater Cleveland that get federal dollars to treat our children, that they do look at our Black children a little bit better. They don't just put them on a pedestal that parents, and I was told this, the reason why Cleveland Clinic, UH, and Metro did not give my daughter medication because I thought we were going to try to get a free check through Social Security. And so my daughter was bumped. She has been resuscitated 9 times. It's public record because she has a medical chart. And she's different. I brought her back to Cleveland for a whole nother reason. But when she came, she played soccer, swam, and was normal. We were in Cleveland. Within a year, the seizures began. She was exposed to Black mold. The correlation, just like with lead for children, Black mold is deadly, and it does mess with your neurology. It messes with the brain. So we have an issue. Nobody is really tackling it, and I would love for you all to really seriously question our city, question these hospitals, these entities, on where are the minority doctors? For Black women, where are GYNs and nutritionists? Where is our mental health doctors within these big conglomerate hospitals? They keep getting ratings. Like this year, Metro Health got #1 for Black men health. Since when? I'm confused. I don't like the optics of just taking a number. One of my bigger issues with our hospitals and entities is the questions they ask patients, they use for a chart to get grant money. So when we ask questions, they're using that information and they're profiteering off of it, but then they're not giving us better health care. My mother was 91, went to the hospital. She passed away at the hospital. She went in for one thing. On her death certificate, it says she died of sepsis. So how did you miss that? We have an issue and our hospitals are ducking us. When we complain, we're considered problematic. I've been to Metro, they have the audacity to have an officer there to block 2 Black women because they said they're disrupting their meetings. Well, unfortunately, Metro Health is a county hospital. Disruption is what they should be used to. It's a county hospital. They make us wait. Radiology, my dad is not a woman, but recently he fell and broke his hip. When he was waiting with an appointment, they wanted us to wait 2 hours for him to get an x-ray. It is unacceptable that we have 3 hospitals, 2 that keep making these big marks. They're nationally known. Everybody is going to these doctors asking for their opinion, but they don't have the correct opinion about minorities, especially Black women and Black girls. And I would appreciate it if anybody would sit them down and ask, show me the records on what you're doing for this group of children.
Thank you so much. And just prayers, for your daughter, that she's being able to connect, to a care team that will be able, to get her procedures, in order so that she will be able to get back to being a vibrant young Black woman. Thank you. And I see our chair is back. Madam Chair, take it back. We're just at public comment. If there's someone else, please come and have a seat. Anyone?
I also want to extend, first of all, my prayers to you. I think these notes will be shared with the commission. I wish that Dr. Linda was still on this virtual end of the meeting, but she does chair our health committee, and we will make sure that she does hear the information that you have presented, so that we can follow up accordingly.
Hello, my name is Greg Reeves. I'm from Towards Employment. I'm a lifelong Ward 1 resident, but I work in Ward 7. I just want to make you all aware that unfortunately, the same day as Ward 5 event, we have one in Ward 7 at Towards Employment. We're having a block party, and I would love for all of you or one of you or 2 of you to attend and sit at a table. I was here last month. I plan on being here a lot, and I'm bringing my alumni from Towards Employment here. I think it's very important that they get to meet you all. I'm always trying to encourage and inspire them to do. We're a workforce development organization, but I want to do more than that. Once you get your career going, I want you to be involved in the community and this city. I love this city for some reason. But anyway, just want to let you all know about our event, and you're always welcome to come by Towards Employment and speak to our workshop. We'd love to have you. Oh, I'm sorry. It's August 16th, from 12 to 4, 33rd in St. Clair. We're 33rd in St. Clair to 33rd in Hamilton. 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. We're gonna have music. We're gonna have a little line dance class, food, resources, all that. Yep. Thank you.
Can you plan to email it to us so we can actually have it?
I emailed it to you.
Did you?
But, well,
What did you do? Oh, see, that's the thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll follow
I
up.
got you.
Okay, so if Brenda has it, then we do have it, but I will make sure with the flyer, I will, by tomorrow, I will make sure that all the commission members have it, and we can share it and get it out.
That would be great.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
thank you.
Turning it back to you, Madam Chair.
Okay, my apologies. I got disconnected. Technology is wonderful when it works. Have we heard from everyone in the audience who wanted an opportunity to address the commission? Again, thank you all for being here and sharing your comments. We work at the pleasure of the citizens for the city of Cleveland. And so you're always welcome to attend our meetings, and we're always wanting to hear what you have to say. So thank you very much. Then getting back to our agenda, the report for the mayor and the council.
Yeah, Madam Chair, we did, when you were off, we did cover that to give
Covered
people.
everything.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we did. And then I would just like to, if you mind, I guess this is still new business, to thank, Commissioner Wills, for the media alerts. I know she sent out that the Division of Health Equity and Social Justice has created a media watch for the Commission of Black Women and Girls. And so I would wonder if she could just share that with us and also share how people can be, in the list, or how are we going to create some type of list so that people who are interested in staying in tune, to that, if you could share that with us.
So we created just right now it's the cadence is monthly. It'll be at the end of the month. That's just a wrap up of important news stories that especially have to do with anything that is policy related or in the media that impacts Black women and girls, and base it around really social determinants of health. But those social determinant of health areas are also our committees. So looking at in the realm of education, looking in the realm of neighborhood and built environment issues, looking at social and community constructs, which is also civil rights and justice, looking at healthcare, looking at so that at least every month we will have a nice collection of things that are happening. A lot of stuff is happening very fast, especially within policy at the federal level. Lots of changes. We want to just be able to keep up with things so that we're definitely keeping an eye on things that are impacting the policies, the advocacy that we want to do in our community and how that relates to Northeast Ohio. In the summer, news cycles typically slow down a little bit and then pick back up in the fall. So we might move to an every other week or twice a month cadence. The way that we can share this with our constituents is by building a mailing list, which so far at most of our events, we've gotten people who are interested to give us their email so we can share it out as an email blast. And then it's linked to all of these very important happenings in the news that you'd be able to look at what you're interested in, and they're divided up based loosely on our committee. So if you are participating in or working with one of our committees, it should be pretty easy for you to find that information that's pertinent for you. How do we sound?
And I would just, to that
Just
point,
leave us your email. Yeah.
I was going to say too, I know that Ibukun is working on the listserv, so we are still trying to make progress on that. Thank you, Ibukun. Any other comments, questions, concerns? Hearing none, we will adjourn the meeting at 6:27. And thank you, everyone, for your participation and attendance today.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you.